Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Dave's Gonna Die.
Yep.
This podcast is about a gentleman named Dave Boelman, who we haven't seen in some time.
It's true.
Dave, how you doing?
Not great.
Yeah?
Not great at all. Came to the hospital about 5 weeks ago. Got admitted. Went into what I can only describe as a coma. It wasn't a real coma because I could hear people coming in and out and stuff like that, but I was not aware of my surroundings at all for about 5 weeks, and then last week I kind of came to a little bit, and now I feel pretty good. But but otherwise pretty tenuous right now.
Tenuous.
It's pretty dicey.
It's a word.
A little dicey at this point. So, I don't know where to begin and end, but I've been here for almost 6 weeks now. Probably have another couple weeks. Then I go to a rehab facility, then hopefully home. So,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Is there any specific green? What are the green check marks that you need to go to the next thing?
Number one, I have to be eating on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm being fed through a bag. And I'm trying to eat more food, but it all tastes like shit because my taste buds are shot. And so I just kind of eat what I can and force the rest down. And then the other milestone is physically being able to, this is as dumb as this sounds, get out of bed, walk around and stuff like that, to be able to go into the next level of PT and OT.
We have a visitor.
Hello.
We really are.
Okay. I'll come back later.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be 6-7 hours probably. But yeah, those are the two major mile markers as far as me getting out of here are concerned. Then I go to a rehab facility that we found up in Johnston. That I'll be there until they kick me out, and then I go home.
Okay.
What was like the coma thing, like that stage? Was that just like a blank and you just kind of, that time just came and went? Do you kind of remember much?
When I got admitted, it was because my blood work was so screwed up. So I had 0 platelets. 0.
How many are you supposed to have?
You're supposed to have north of 30.
Okay.
So I had 0. And they didn't like that. And then they admitted me. And just one issue after another started to rear its head. And so I've got a list of maladies that's pretty hardcore, but we're gradually knocking them off and moving on. But yeah, the diagnosis is not great, and therefore the title of our podcast is probably apt on some level. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
So there's some things I'm doing to second opinion. The big thing right now is my liver is all fucked up. And so I got to look into alternatives there. They're not comfortable doing much here, which is understandable. But like AJ pointed out, he goes, Illinois, Chicago. Is that right? University of Chicago?
University of Chicago, Mayo, New York, some places that
Yeah.
will take on more complex
Yeah.
liver transplant type cases.
Like a Rochester type.
Yeah.
AJ's already diagnosed himself as compatible, so
It's true.
we're good.
What's the deal on that? Can you go half liver?
Yeah.
That's the move?
That's what I would like to do with him, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
He has to agree to it, and then they have to agree to it too.
And you are compatible?
I am compatible blood type wise with him,
Amazing.
Holy
We're
shit.
in love.
yeah.
Yeah. You guys are going to be like the same person.
Jesus.
I know. I mean, I would love to put my liver inside of him.
There we go.
Just a little bit of you and Dave. Hell yeah.
Now we're talking
How big is a liver?
I'm actually
massive.
Yeah. I mean, yours is probably larger than the average, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
And I haven't, it'll be 3 years of no drinking here soon, so I think it's in probably pretty good shape.
Nice.
The 10 years of binge drinking put a little, like one of those whales with the scars on it. You know?
Yeah.
That's exactly
You're
where
gonna
I'm
find,
at.
You're gonna find out in 2 years a version of you is gonna show up with a time machine. I'm gonna go back in time. I'm gonna tell me, that you need to stop drinking so your liver can get good enough to give to Dave. Just so you
There
know.
you go.
Bye.
Dave who?
But I think Wes had asked you specifically about the coma. Like, was it just like a blink, or does that span of time did it feel like a month of not?
No.
It was just one day you kind of woke up again?
Yeah, I just kind of I snapped to, and I was in the ICU, I think, when I snapped to. And I kind of just looked around like, okay. And I made some smart ass comments, and people were like, oh, he's back. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, I was in the group chat like, hey, we doing the podcast this week. Nobody was responding. So
Yeah. So the last thing that happened with the podcast was there were a couple times you said you couldn't do it, and it was because of blood issues.
Right.
And then the next thing I knew or heard of was you were in the hospital because of lung issues.
That's right. I forgot I had a collapsed lung for a while.
So that's the whole time when you were in the hospital. That's what I assumed was happening. Was
No.
that it was lung stuff?
I had a collapsed lung. I had radiation treatment for my melanoma on my lung, which we cleared up. I've got blood clots somewhere in my body. That's always fun to think about. I don't know. Like I said, I've got this punch list worth of fucking weird maladies that we're just checking off one at a time.
All these organ issues, are they all results of your body dealing with chemo?
No.
Or is it cancer specific?
The liver is a lifetime of abuse.
Really?
Yeah. So that's where that's coming from. The chemo just put me under
Mm-hmm.
and took away my ability to think or breathe or do anything for about a month. But I'll let AJ tell a story about last week because he knows better than I do what happened. But I went in for a procedure where they were going to put a feeding tube down my throat through my nose, I think. And I told him to put me under because I have a big time gag reflex and I knew this was not going to go well. They didn't do it. They gave me a local. And I turned over and I started throwing up like you wouldn't believe. And then the doctor looks at me and goes, have you ever thrown up blood before? I said, no.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, right.
After the open mic.
And then,
well, it was a first for everything.
yeah. And then they did an emergency procedure to kind of bring me back. And I'll let AJ tell the rest. Just a second.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it makes sense. You weren't fully cognizant at that time, but yeah, it was pretty scary stuff. They had called us in for like a meeting with a palliative care team and stuff like that, which palliative care essentially means like hospice type things. And they had told us that Dave had these things called varices, which I promptly was mispronouncing. I kept saying Viserys, which is someone from Game of Thrones. I was calling people being like, he has Viserys all over him. But he had these things called varices, which are like enlarged blood vessels that I guess must have kind of popped when he started puking, and they were putting that NG tube, that feed tube, down his nose, which he had for that whole month basically, but he would pull it out sometimes because he wasn't really awake. So, it'd probably feel weird to have it down there and you'd kind of yank at it and stuff. But I guess during that whole process, he started throwing up blood, and they were like, right now it's an hour by hour thing, which was super scary. I had called Matt, I think not long after I had left that day. And they'd went in, miracle of science, I guess, with that same thing they were going to put the tube down with. They were able to like suture those varices. And it was looking really hairy. He was in the ICU. But the funniest or weirdest sort of thing about it was that despite him having been in the hospital for the better part of a month in this unit, when he came out of the surgery after they gave us this whole speech of being like, we can't tell you what's going to happen in the next 48 hours, which is a pretty scary thing to hear about your buddy, when I walked in the ICU, he was like, AJ. He was just like kicking it, and he was the most cognizant he had been since he'd been in the hospital. Yeah. Like, he was totally conscious, which makes sense with your timeline as well, that you sort of snapped awake then. Because that was like when Walsh came and all these people, and because we weren't sure, they had told us hour by hour at that time, so I was like, let's call in the troops, let's get everyone here to see him. And then it was like, okay, he made it past 24 hours, and then it was 48, and then they were like, we're moving him back down to oncology, which is where he is now. And he's continued to be down here. I remember even when you guys were still doing the podcast at the studio, he had that kind of chicken bouillon yellow look to him. He has a lot less of that now, which is crazy. You're a little bit more rosier than you used to be. It's been miraculous what has happened from like that meeting in a room, everyone very scared, to like now potentially, you've walked to the door a few times, right?
Yeah, it's amazing what passes for progress. Walking to the door. Yeah, then when I had to tell my PT and everything like that, that my words of encouragement do nothing for me.
You got this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they say shit like that. I'm like, guys, no.
He's a little surly.
I go, I'm 53 years old. I'm not 12. We're good.
One step at a time, Dave.
Right.
I think that's been my favorite thing is every time I've been here, someone's walked in and just been like, hi, Dave. Dave, I'm Tom. I am, let's see here. Who was here? Jen. Okay, Jen was here. And I'm just here to check in on your, and it's like they're like got mittens on. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh God, I know Dave hates this so much.
You have no idea.
So the time I visited you, it seemed like you really couldn't drink water. You had that little sponge, I guess.
Yeah.
Was that the case, or?
Yeah, I mean, part of that was me just being an asshole.
Give me the sponge.
Well, no, I mean, even the sponge was, they would offer me a big drink of water, and I would be like, I don't need it. I did. I don't know. I was just a prick for a month and a half, I guess.
I just love that they're like, you need a big drink of water. You're like, nah, I'm good. Stuck on a sponge? And you're like, yes.
Definitely that. Definitely that.
You told the nurse, you're like, can I get like 5 gallons of water? And she was like, no, you can't. So it seemed like there was a time. My favorite part about that visit was there's the picture of you and, is it Tilly? Is that the granddaughter's name?
Yeah.
There's a picture of you and Tilly, and your brother, I guess, was around, and the nurse was like, "Oh, is that your brother in the picture?" And you're like, "No, that's me." And like, I made a joke to Taylor, my better half, after the fact. I was like, "Yeah, believe it or not, I didn't always look like this," you know.
Ah, no shit.
This was kind of a funny thing that had happened. So when he was first in ICU, they had a board up, and there was these different sections, like whatever, his heart rate, his weight, his height, all these things. And when I was making calls to people, I was like, he's only 105 pounds, because it said 105. It was kilograms.
Yeah.
Dave's still fat.
So I had that information.
Yes.
And I walk in with Mike, and I just went,
Not fat.
the first thing I said was, "See, Dave, I warned you about Ozempic."
Fuck that shit. I'll never take that.
Yeah, back to the first episode, you were talking about getting into better shape, and it was like, I'm going to get down to 180 or
I
something.
said my goal weight was 185.
And I took the over like an idiot. I lost a lot of money on you, Dave.
No, you won.
Yeah, 105 times what? 2.2. You're up there in the 2 bills still.
Yeah,
That's a good healthy weight.
I'm in there.
Did you say 2 bills?
Well, I don't know if that's what they say, right? 200 plus.
I'm asking you if that's what they say. I don't know
I
what
think
they
so,
say.
yeah.
That's what they
Just
say.
saying
I'm
things
learning.
I've heard before.
Okay.
That's what they say.
Okay.
I will say it's worth noting, Dave, though, like from my perspective, I appreciate how much you kept your spirits. Because like when I went to visit you, I expected like I would probably like break down as a friend, maybe cry a little with you. And you were just like, we're talking about ESPN, what's on ESPN, talking sports.
Yeah.
You're saying, you know, I'm going to get out of here kind of thing. I'm going to go
Yeah.
drink a bucket of Coors when I can,
That's
when he gets
kind of-
AJ's liver.
Yeah, it's weird what goes through your head when you're comatose and you have no sense of reality whatsoever. Things start to sound a lot better than they really are. So the idea of sitting there with a 12-pack of Coors Light on a patio someplace just drinking sounded magnificent.
Yeah, I think I talked to Tommy later that day. I forget who else I talked to, but I think you mentioned drinking throughout that whole day to different people. When we talked about somebody's like kid was going off to the military or something, and you're like, I better get a beer with him sometime before he goes.
Yep. That's what I do.
You're going to get AJ's half liver and take a drink, and it's going to be like, what
No.
the fuck? Like,
If that actually came to pass and it actually worked, I'd have zero compunction about never drinking again, changing some of my lifestyle habits. But, yeah, it's a hell of an offer.
How much, if the liver thing happens, will that ruin the dynamic of your relationship of an I owe you big time kind of thing? Just forever, can't get on AJ about anything.
It pretty much flips the script. Yeah.
Debt's cleared. We're good now.
Yeah, we're good.
That's still a lot.
All right, liver, we're even. That's fine.
It's also very illegal, but yeah. Yeah, it's just so I got a few steps here to take, but right now my prognosis is not great, although it's not terrible. It's kind of in between, and depending on what my second opinion looks like on my liver, then that'll dictate kind of where I end up going and how I'd end up doing. But I don't know. We'll see. Good story, Dave. Thanks.
I mean, that's literally the only story that we're here for. So.
Yeah.
pretty much. No same Dave parlay.
No,
of that.
I've watched way more college baseball than I ever thought I would. I watched what else have I watched?
We watched the third act of True Lies.
Yeah, I did. That sucked. Storage Wars. We were watching Storage Wars last night.
Yep.
That'll suck you in.
Mm-hmm.
It's the gateway drug to was it A&E?
Oh yeah.
So my dad owns storage units. Side note, all about me here for a second. My
Go
dad
for it.
owns storage units, and
Actually,
when
wait a second. I want to make it about me. I made the logo for that, right?
you did, yeah,
Perfect.
you
I'm
did.
done making it about me. You can go back
hired
to making it about you.
Easy Self Storage, Shanahan, Illinois. He. So it's funny because like when I was a kid, he used to lose money on all those auctions because he has to legally place an ad in the paper, and it'd be like whatever $75 to place a small ad, and he'd get the same group of people coming, and they'd look at all this shit, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'll give you like $10," and he's like, "Well, fine, like you're gonna clean it out." So he'd basically lose money on those auctions essentially, and then those shows came out, and then people started bidding like crazy, like for the same shit, and like $300, $500 kind of thing. So he's like, "Oh, those shows did him a solid. They paid for my college."
It's a $60 bill.
$60 bill.
No, I mean but learned a lot about daytime TV, nighttime TV.
What's your preference?
It's a great question.
Because there's a
there,
certain
Matthew.
absurdity to daytime TV that's fun and weird.
Yeah, it's the advertising that fucks you up.
Yep.
You're like,
Whole
"What?"
different set of ads.
Night people have cool ads.
Night people get to buy cars and things. Daytime people get to buy meds and
Yeah, I was gonna
hover-rounds
say. Yeah, there's a lot of medical devices,
and coins,
coins.
Commemorative coins.
commemorative coins.
I got
Yeah, what are the nighttime ads? Is it still like ShamWow and shit? Or?
no, it's
The one psychic lady.
Burger
Flex
King.
Seal.
You saw the shit out of the Burger King commercial.
yeah. I was gonna say I see the same fucking How to Train Your Dragon Burger King commercial.
A movie title that should never be known to you, and for any reason whatsoever, but you know it
Yep,
forever now.
yep. I don't know. It's terrible, but it's true.
And Dave does have his own dragon.
I do have my own dragon. BYOG.
Beautiful, big black dragon.
Yeah, Shyla gave me a dragon.
Have you
Pretty
learned
exciting.
anything through this whole process, Dave?
Have I learned anything?
Have you learned anything?
About the world, about yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you learn that the Whopper costs $1.99 on daytime television?
What?
How much does a Whopper cost?
Way more than that.
Come on,
I have
you've
no
seen-
idea.
I don't know.
When's the last time you bought a Whopper?
I have no
I-
idea, and
I-
I'm never gonna know.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
Whoppers aren't part of your last meal or any idea. Or anything.
No, it's not part of anything other than
Have you made any friends here?
just a few of the nurses.
Yeah.
So whenever Dave Boelman presents Dave Boelman and Dave Boelman's Friends and Possible Enemies, you've kind of maybe collected a few enemies
Oh yeah,
so you can add to the show.
oh yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely. There's probably some nurse or or what do you want to call them? Admin, like people that don't like me very much because of my earlier performances.
Performances.
They've gotten to like me a little bit now, but prior to that, it was not pretty. Because of course I know everything. I was arguing with my doctor.
Just
and-
saying no, like that's not what's happening. Or that's,
no, I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Explain to me what. And at the time, I just remember we were arguing in circles, and she goes, "Dave, you know I'm not gonna feed you full of shit. This is what's going on." I'm like, okay. So I stuck around, and here I am. Still
so
here.
he stuck around.
No, I was ready to check out.
Just leave
Mm-hmm.
the hospital altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna walk out? You have Kurt push you out in a wheelchair?
I don't know how that would have worked. That's the part of the problem.
That would have been the major roadblock.
Yep.
The hospital gown with the ass hanging out the back.
Pretty much like McConaughey style in
Dallas Buyers Club.
whatever. Yeah, just walk around with my.
So there's two titles that I'm working with right now for this episode that you've mentioned. It's either going to be McConaughey style, or it's going to be So I Stuck Around.
All right.
Yeah, I'm still sticking around.
Sticking around.
That's right. You had your shot. Took it and lost.
Missed. You're gonna, what's the
If
wire?
you come at the king, you better not miss.
That's it.
The king. What else you guys got for questions?
Yeah, we have what are my other segments? We're skipping the Iowa Wave. Don't
How
worry.
is Dave alive? How's Dave looking?
How is Dave looking?
I plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth.
I mean, he's looking the best that he has since he's been in the hospital. That's no.
You have freckles now.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing before.
Skin tone's coming back a little bit. My hands are like, I can't explain it, but they're a mixture between numb and cold all the time.
Is that why you got the MJ gloves on?
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, because he's bundled up like a Christmas gift.
I am.
He's
I'm cold all the time.
He's got black MJ gloves on.
It's literally, 175 degrees outside, and I'm in here bundled
I
up.
think that's shooting low.
Yeah. That's kind of the way it goes, but...
Ian, were you going to say something? You were leaned forward like you were going to say something. I think it cut you off.
Also.
Oh,
You
okay.
brought up the
Okay.
gloves, yeah.
Can't believe Ian hasn't done some research.
I will say that you have a nice little view here.
Right.
This is the same entrance as the maternity ward. You come in here for the births on this side too.
Is
so-
this where your youths were born?
Yeah, we marched right in down there. So I,
Wow.
they got a lot going on in this wing here.
Yeah, I remember one day I was coming in with some snacks for him or something, and Reem had just had his baby, and he was downstairs at the front door waiting for Jimmy John's.
Oh.
Nice. Reamer.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Reem.
Shout out Reem.
Yeah, born on a Friday.
Born on Friday.
When was that? Was that?
Friday before last, I think.
It was right before Trump's birthday because he didn't want to have the same birthday as Trump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Induce.
Squeezer.
Push. I guess how much of an MVP have the people like Shyla, AJ,
Oh my
your
God.
brother,
Huge.
like your support system?
So
You have a newfound appreciation.
My core group of supporters is probably my brother, Pete, my son, Shyla, and AJ. And they kind of float in and out and get me dinner or whatever, or give me something to eat or what have you. And they've done an immense amount of work. That I don't know, pretty cool.
There's a pretty broad spectrum of support. We got all the way from dragons to livers. So
Yeah, we got that.
If you were going to compare those four to a Steelers team, what year Steelers team would it be?
Be 1977 defensive front.
Mean Joe
right.
Green.
Naturally.
now he's speaking his language.
That was probably the best way to.
Seemed like you
Ask
thought
that
about
question.
that a little bit. You had that.
Come on, I don't have to think about it.
He paid me to ask the question.
Yeah, it really came in clutch. I think probably the team from Mighty Ducks 2. Probably.
Yeah, Elsie Greenwood, Joe Green, Dwight White, all the greats.
Which one is AJ? I guess, for example.
AJ?
Yeah, like which player would he be?
I'd put him as LC Greenwood.
He was
Just
a
a-
tackle.
Just a badass.
What position was Greenwood?
Yeah, defensive tackle.
So you're plugging the A gap.
Yep.
Attaboy.
Unafraid. It's continued sports analogies. It's awesome. Matt loves it.
Dude, I was absolutely gonna agree with you on that one. But I was thinking about what would be the character actors that would play the support team in the movie
Ooh-wee.
chronicling. Who's gonna play AJ? What that guy is gonna play AJ?
Good question. Tom Hardy.
Oh, there you go.
Not that guy. Just
It could be anybody.
yeah. Because Tom's not afraid to play anything.
What's Tom Hardy's eccentric voice that he's gonna use for AJ? Because Tom Hardy doesn't do a person's voice. He
Yeah,
just
no.
Dave, I'm here to give you my liver.
Yeah, no shit, right?
You merely adopted the liver. I was born with it. Molded it.
It's a pretty incredible thing at the end of the day, though.
A liver?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Both.
So I didn't know you could just have it and just give it to somebody. Like
Well,
a
you
chunk of it to somebody.
can, but it's not that easy.
Right.
Seems like one of those easier said than done sort of things.
Right.
In fairness, I went down a Chat GPT rabbit hole, and that's how I kind of got on the liver train.
Right on.
Come on,
Yeah.
Chat GPT.
I'm not saying that as like defending it.
I'm not saying that as a doctor.
I was, I literally at one point explained Dave's condition and everything I understood about it, and then was like, "How do we save Dave?" To Chat GPT, and they came back with some decent information. Yeah, because I guess I'd heard of liver transplants, but I didn't know you could do like a living donor type situation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I guess if he was like, we would both grow to a normal size again too. Like it kind of regenerates and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Dave's about to be known as the.
starfish. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. I was just gonna say he's about to be known as the Liver King.
Getting a fight with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you are in the loop.
I heard about it.
We
I don't
talked
know
about it
anything
last time I
about
was
it.
here.
Hell yeah.
That's kind of a headline. It's not a. I didn't read the article.
I gave him the footnotes of has beef with Joe. Went after, made a video about Joe, threatening Joe. Got arrested, got out, still threatening Joe.
Right.
One time that was real funny was like, I think it was either when he was in ICU or maybe just out of it. We were all talking, and people like Elchis, who's a good longtime friend, and we're like, "Oh, what's Dave been talking about?" And Kurt, his brother, was like, he asked about Israel, Iran. I was like, who cares about Israel? I just in that moment,
Kind of.
But maybe it's nice to think about other shit too, I guess.
Part of it is trying to separate fact from fiction in your own mind. Because you've been down for so long and you had so many weird ass dreams that you're like, what?
Right.
Was there anything that you missed during that quote unquote coma period that you were told about after the fact that was surprising or stood out?
Not really. I mean,
You remembered the Liver King thing I told him, so that was important.
I remember bits and pieces of a lot of things, but that doesn't mean I like remember them. It just they stick for whatever reason, like post-it notes.
Because I think even when you were getting chemo, you would talk about chemo brain a lot. Where
Yeah, you get fogged out, but I mean, this is totally different. This is you're down, and anyone who goes through this, I feel for them. Mm-hmm.
I was like, Sling Blade.
French fried taters. Not-
All right, there's a third title option for this episode. It's Sling Blade.
Not trying to get like too depressing or deep or anything, but like going through all this, how you kind of had a very scary experience going through. Do you have anything like of your life reflective that you kind of feel now or think of or anything?
For sure. You kind of line up priorities. So when you have, let's call it a certain amount of time, like I do now, you're like, okay, what do I want to get done?
I can't imagine what's going through your head of just being in that position of just kind of like,
You know, the first day you're kind of doing that, and then after that you're like, fuck it.
yeah. I mean, you can't dwell on it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. So you're just like,
Time to masturbate again.
I wish.
These nurses aren't like they used to be.
Nope. Nope.
That's another way to get you out of here, too.
Yeah. Little motivation. Get out of here, buddy.
There's a trade. The trade is Dave's out of the hospital, but he is fully canceled.
Can't even do my own club.
Well, I think that something with that attitude that you had, sort of that switch that you said after the first day, and just kind of that we're going straight forward sort of attitude, I think is really to your benefit.
Yeah, I spent the day, Kurt and I had some conversations. But after that, he'll ask me something every once in a while. But I mean, like today, he asked me what I want my services to be, and I go, I haven't really thought about it. I really think there's two. There's like a general public service, and then there's the comedy scene, which we can make whatever we want. Sure.
No, I already got it played out. George is actually hosting it.
Perfect.
Jeff Newell's running music.
Michael Thompson's the pastor.
Oh my God. Tom, what a great guy.
We could try to like sacrifice somebody for a good luck. I don't know how sacrifices work, but is there, I mean.
Sweet. Who from the scene are we sacrificing?
Right.
We'll go around the room.
Are you more of like a celebration of life kind of guy if that day was to come?
I think so.
Big ass party.
Yeah. But I also want like a comedy scene specific roast / fucking whatever you guys decide it needs to be. Those are two very different worlds.
I'm just gonna go up and say the things that you would hate to hear the most. It's just gonna be 5 minutes of Dave was so brave. It's a real inspiration. We told him he could do it, and he made it to the door.
I have a video of myself saying "fuck off."
Yeah, you could. We're just gonna record an entire sequence of you going, "God damn it, fuck off! What are you doing? Can we keep this moving?" It's just like a bunch of that, and they'll just cut it in. Somebody's on a switchboard, just
people I barely know or don't even know at all that want to speak, and I just come on over it and say I don't know who this person is.
We do need to make that soundboard of just things. So, and then wait for that one Omaha comic to go up and be like, "Oh, Omaha's here for some reason."
I'm sorry, mobbing. I don't know.
Shots fired.
It'll be the
Most underrated.
That's what I hear, but I mean, I've seen him before, but not enough.
His mic's good.
Yeah.
The Ridgemont.
Oh, he's producing one?
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
It's a contest too. It's Groucho style. You win either a
Hell yeah.
$50 in cash for first, $25 for second place every Thursday. Check it out.
Ripping you off, man.
Yeah, yeah. Get it while it lasts, because that will be lasting for a few more weeks. I
They
think.
were already talking on day one of switching it to a bar tab.
Yeah, right. You got to spend that money here.
Yeah. And you spend it here on booze, so you keep drinking booze after you hit the limit.
Yeah, it was smart though, because Mobbin says that he lives right down the street, which is the only way to do it. If you're going to be putting on a mic, you make it convenient for you. You were already going to be here drinking anyway. Might as well bring a microphone into the equation.
I should talk to Simon and see if Simons wants to do an open mic.
Ooh.
Yeah, in that second space.
Yeah,
down
that
the
second
street.
room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take away from their dinner hours, please. It's too good.
Nothing can touch the dinner hours.
He has the best customer service in all of Des Moines.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
That's not untrue, actually.
He remembers everybody's everything. Like, he remembers the order you got that. Like, I got in line and there's like a bunch of people, and I'm like, we're going to lose our table because he's, he remembers the order. He remembers everybody's drink. He's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Register wrote about him.
Yeah, I think they've won like awards. haven't they? Yeah.
I guess, Dave, what were your goals of this podcast, and have they been accomplished? I don't know why that was so funny.
At first, I did it as a joke because I was about 80 to 90% confident I was going to make it through it. And then the liver thing happened, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so it's still a joke. It's my sense of humor, damn it.
Yeah, I still have that graphic of your head and flowers with a sun background behind
Yeah.
it. I have the raw files for that. So if we need to make a pamphlet, we got it.
Not hard.
Yeah, I think it was Haley Call that got scared that it was like an actual,
Yeah.
he died.
Oh, Antoinette Stevens messaged me. She was very angry about how it looked like then that like first clip. Yeah, she was just like, "What happened?" And I'm like,
We're getting a lot of name drops today. Let's
Yeah,
see if we
big
can name
name
the
drop.
whole scene.
Tag them all in the post.
Yeah,
we've
Let's do
listed
it.
an entire lineup for a showcase now.
pretty much. At least the A show and a B show.
Right. Yes, there's different tiers.
Well, I can say as an outsider, probably a testament to your love of the game, but he's talked about comedy pretty much consistently whenever he was cognizant and talking about the club. So with that said, do you have any comedy sets that you saw that like were your favorite or memorable in ways?
Comedy what?
Comedy sets?
Like, since I've been here?
No, I mean, just in general, like a great, you could be a national comedian, a local.
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody in the room.
Somebody in the room. Someone starts with a W. Yeah, just great shows and stuff.
Yeah, I've been to Stanhope before. Love Stanhope. He's on my short list of people to get in. His no refunds hour, if you ever get a chance to see that, is pretty much flawless.
Mm-hmm.
It's just batting 1,000. Shit. Patton Oswalt always has good stuff. Mulaney's always got good stuff. Attell, of course. Sam Talent, for whatever reason, just kills me. So I don't know, but those stick out in my head. They're the ones that just pop immediately in mine, and then locally there's a few too, but won't go into that for fear of retribution.
From who? Who's going to be like, he didn't mention my set?
Right.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, you would actually.
Someone comes, unplugs Dave's machine.
Yep. Fuck you.
I can't believe it was Gideon Hambright.
I will say this, that I always thought Mel Mackey's bit about women saying I'm sorry was kind of overdone. It's not. Every nurse here, doesn't matter what they're doing. Sorry. I'm like, don't apologize for doing your damn job.
Sorry that I said sorry so many times.
Basically what it comes down to.
You were made a believer on that bit?
I was. I didn't necessarily 100% go there, and now I'm like, yep, I get it. Doesn't matter how many times I tell them stop saying I'm sorry, you just do your job, you're fine. But
When you were in the ICU, strangely, I was thinking about your comedy a lot, like just
wow.
your different bits. I don't know why, because I think it's like a weird, almost like scrapbook of that person, you know? It's because it's like a communication of their personality or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in between, I was vacillating between crying and then laughing at the pronoun joke.
Yeah, that's probably my best joke I've ever written.
That one, and then this
So
one.
well paced.
Yeah, that one, and then this one aged a little differently now, but being the only man to get cancer, go through chemo, and gain weight and have a proceeding hairline.
That's exactly right.
Those
Yeah.
are two Dave classics I was cracking up at.
Oh yeah, we lose the battle on that one. Gotta retire it. But no.
For whatever reason, I did record the last time you went to Lefties. I just pulled out my phone and just recorded that whole set of you going up there.
When was the last time I went to Lefties?
I don't know, but it was after like you were talking about transfusions and stuff. Because I was like, sorry, basement. My bad. Beechwood. I always call it the same mic. But yeah, you.
Oh yeah, I just gotten blood transfusions. It felt like $1 million.
Yeah, you came charging in.
I did.
Yeah, you just were standing next to me, and holy shit, it's Dave.
And like 3 days later, I'm comatose. Good times.
Mm-hmm.
Fond memories.
It was a good couple days though.
It was fun.
Took a bunch of meetings for the club. And
We
also-
did. We were killing it for a while.
He was burning the candle at both ends for a couple days.
Well, I kind of figured out that we got to make hay when the sun's shining, right? So it was like, all right, I feel good. Let's do this. I feel like shit. Let's not do this. Had a meeting with the city where that could have gone disastrously bad, where I died in front of them.
I mean, whatever you were asking of them, could they have said no after that?
Yeah, right.
What about those tax credits?
Right. We were talking about TIF credits, and no, I just,
It's just- for whatever reason, I had a visual in my head of you're sitting there in a bed, and then AJ sitting next to you, and then you're on like a Zoom call with like the city or something, and then you hear beep, and then they wheel Dave away, and AJ goes, "Sorry about that." So anyway,
here's where we're at.
So how about this property tax abatement?
Okay, we're on Plan B now for management of the.
But he's been. We just had a meeting, me, him, and a couple other folks about the club, and he's still chomping at the bit for it.
Yeah, I really want that to happen from a legacy standpoint, from a just want it to happen standpoint. I think it's important for a lot of reasons. And I think we're getting pretty close, so I say that a lot, but
yeah, I think we only need 3-4 more bottles of whiskey, and then should be enough to fill the club up.
man, no kidding. I got them.
Is your whiskey collection safe? Where, just that at your house still?
No,
Was it in the
no
apartment?
comment.
Oh, it's secret. It's hidden.
Yeah.
It's like Capone's tomb or whatever.
Whiskey collection safe. Baseball and football, basketball card collection is safe. Guns are safe. Trying to think what else I have protected.
All these things are going in the club, by the way.
Right.
The guns, the booze, the cards, they're all going in there.
Yeah.
All in the green room.
Yeah,
Yep.
It'll be
makes
fun
sense.
as hell.
Just all in one green room.
That'd be huge.
So the comics are like twirling a gun in the air, talking about their set. Like, dude, this crowd's sucks tonight. Oh shit!
The mic stand's a gun.
I thought if the club was just built out of your cards collection, like a house of cards. But
Yeah,
Is there a
there you go.
scenario
Now we're
in which
talking.
the club could be called Dave's Comedy Club?
That's what we've been working on. Me and Jacobsen and Dave gave me a tacit approval of it like a day ago.
Yes.
We want to call it Big Dave's Comedy Club.
Yes.
Big Dave's.
Hell yeah.
Big Dave's Gold Mine.
Big Dave's gold mine.
I like that a lot. I do want to see what marketing collateral you guys have come up with so far.
I think Matt and I are very much of the same mind on it. I think you'll like what we can pull together for it.
Yeah.
I showed you my old Tees logo idea, or my Tees logo idea. I gotta show you that yet. But I made like a little promo video of like how I simplified the original Tees logo and stuff. That like I will submit to like some ad competition or something of just like unpublished category.
Not one of those logos that's like, if you look at it from this way, it's the Teehees one, but if you scoot over here, it's Dave's face staring at you.
Yeah, where it's just a bunch
Now
of
we're
like
talking.
garbage.
Yeah, is it an old lady or a young lady?
What's going on with this guy?
Yeah, but Big Dave's, we want to see it done. It shall be done.
Yep. Okay. Now we gotta build the stupid thing. But we're pretty close, I think.
Yeah, we were the closest we'd ever been.
I would say that's true.
And we were never lying before either. It was like, it was more, you know, we were misinformed by other people about certain things, you know. We were never trying to tell tales out of school. That's not really.
That's right.
People tend to change their minds and renege things and stuff, you know.
Well, I kept everyone busy. I was telling tales out of school. I told them it was gonna be 4 rooms, each 200 people, 200 seaters each.
It's going to be at the Merle Hay
That's
Mall.
right.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be
3 levels.
yep, 3 stories.
A rooftop.
Yep, every floor is a different genre of comedy. I was gonna be on the top floor with prop comedy and just noises. Just for Gen Z's really loves that top floor of just noises.
Open 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. That's right. There's an
Well, then
arcade.
You got AJ's alter ego now, which is quinceanera videographer and photographer.
Yeah, AJ, you want to run us through that?
There you go.
Yeah, give him the mic.
Yeah, so I was out back of my apartment in a dumpster shooting a comedy sketch.
As you do.
Some of you may have saw. And so my property manager and his sister and brother-in-law came around the corner of the building there, and they saw that I had like tripods and we had all this equipment to shoot it. And only one of them spoke English, my property manager, and he came up and he was like, "Sorry to bother you, but could you shoot photos?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I'm still standing in the dumpster while this conversation is going on, by the way. I'm like leaning over the edge of it, being like, "Yeah, you know, definitely shoot photos," but you know,
That's a sketch right there.
yeah, exactly. And then they were like, "Oh, well, we have this quinceañera. You know, would you be willing to come and shoot it?" And so I thought I was gonna be doing some people a favor, basically like, "Oh, it's like a birthday party. I'll be there for 2 hours max." So they're like, "Oh, how much do you want for it?" And I was like, "I'll do for 200. You know, that seems whatever, fair enough." And they're like, "Oh, great. The last person quoted us 3,500. We spent 20,000 on this party. Blah blah blah." And so I had lowballed myself like so far. I mean, like the lowest balls of all time, and wound up getting in there. Nobody spoke English, basically, except like one guy who was kind of my point of contact. It started at 11 a.m. and went till 1 a.m.
Whoa.
So I was making about $4.50 an hour, I think, by that point.
You could have gone 2,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but it was one of those things where I'd already said the 200, so I couldn't come back and be like, let's make that a cool 1,500, actually, you know. Or, but they did right by me. They like more than doubled it by the end of it, and the food was amazing. They had all sorts of different like stewed beef and pork, like melt on the fork level stuff, you know, just beautiful. And then they had this Mexican spaghetti that I had never seen before that had like shrimp in it. And yeah, it looked kind of like a spaghetti casserole, but it was, Hispanic style.
Huh.
But it was literally top 10 best thing I've ever eaten. It was crazy.
I bet those
Wow.
pictures are sweet too. huh?
Yeah, I went there today, and they like lugged a TV from in some back room and put it in the living room floor, and they were like, "Can you put it on the TV?" And I was like, "All right." Stuck a flash drive in there, and then they were just kind of scrolling through, and they loved it. And yeah, now I have like 5 or 6 people I'm supposed to get back to about shooting other quinceañeras.
And your going rate is $200 and
Yeah, that's probably
Mexican
why.
spaghetti.
Yes, exactly. If the spaghetti's there, I'll do it for free, probably.
There's a discount if there's Mexican spaghetti.
Yes.
These to-go containers.
Yeah. I did take a little to go, and I kept kind of like going back and nipping a little off of it in between my shots. And I don't really drink, but they like, despite the language barrier, they all started to like me quite a bit by the end of it. I had like 15 beers in front of me. They kept bringing me beers, and then I'd wait for them to like look away, and I'd take them and put them back in the cooler, and then they'd come and bring them back. They were very sweet people.
So
So that's
go
my
ahead.
new gig for now. Yeah, until Big Dave's open, I will be shooting quinceañeras.
Yeah. Big Dave's comedy and quinceañeras.
Comedy quinceañera.
So the photography that you do that I'm the most used to is like what you've done for like open mics, no sleep, stuff like that, where it's like high contrast, kind of vignette shadows on the outside, but those are like in a basement. And I assume this quinceañera was like outside.
Yeah,
Is it
unfortunately,
a
it was very
similar
outside.
kind of like photography style, or is like did you do something different? for
So
that?
I kind of partitioned it where I took one camera, a little bit nicer of a camera, and shot it more like traditional portrait photography, because that was sort of what I did when I first came back to Iowa from college,
Mhm.
because that was kind of what I wanted to go to graphic design school for anyway. It was just to learn like Photoshop and stuff
Mhm.
to be better at photography.
And then you got stuck making ads with me at the register.
Correct. But so I took like a standard kind of portrait photography approach with everything until they actually got to the party. Because
Okay.
the party was indoors, and it was more like a DJ, lights low. So then it was perfect. So I just switched to like the comedy style of that flash and like
Yeah.
the big vignette. And funny enough, they loved those photos. Like, and I don't know if it's just I think it captures like an energy of like nighttime activity in a way or something.
It has a certain nostalgia to it that like
Yeah.
cameras don't do anymore. Like typically, unless you know exactly what you're doing to get that shot, like people don't really like take a lot of like indoorsy show photos like that, where it feels like you're actually there in the room.
Yeah, because it's shot with a fisheye, and
Yeah.
then it's like a flash, and I crank the aperture real small, which means everything's in focus basically. So I
Mhm.
never worry about like I never sit there and focus it. I just spin it, and then I'll put it up here or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can get interesting angles, and it was something that was a camera that's supposed to be for the podcast originally, but it didn't work for it, and so it was just sitting in a drawer forever. And I just bought a flash for it and started shooting, and it wound up being like the thing I enjoyed most doing. So I like doing it all the time. I got some great photos of like Dave that night that he came, and I'm super thankful for those. But that's it. Farther enough about me.
Dave, you want to get some rest, or you want to get some rest?
I'm all right.
Okay. Because I got about another hour and a half of questions for you.
Well, let's
so.
go.
I was kind of I feel like I've been asking a lot of questions. I want to give
Pope, you got
Wes.
questions?
Wes was asking good questions.
I don't know. I don't have any great questions right now, but Kia has been I'd been telling him about where I was going tonight, and so you hear the little guy. Dave calls my son Kia, and his name is not that. But now I call him Kia too. So
Nice.
It's really taken off around the house.
Nice. That's what we do.
Yep.
That's how nicknames are born.
When you were in the ICU, I asked you what your favorite movie was, and you said Casino. Would you stand by that?
No, not even close.
Boogie Nights?
No. Favorite movie?
Spider-Man 3.
Dune 2.
The amazing Spider.
And I will say there's very much a difference between what you think is the best movie and what your favorite movie is.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a very hard time turning Pulp Fiction off if it's on.
And you saw that in theaters, actually.
I did. I saw them back to back. I went and watched it. I didn't understand what the fuck was going on because it's shot out of order. And that threw me completely, but I was enthralled. So I went back and bought another ticket and watched it again. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here, bud. But yeah, that to me that is the piece of film achievement and also just great. I gotta, as far as entertainment value, maybe Once Upon a Time is probably up there. Casino's great, but I wouldn't put it in my.
You were in the ICU, so.
Right.
I was shocked when you said that, though. I was like, all right.
No, it's a good movie. I think it's just recency bias where I'd seen it on TV or something. Yeah, I don't know. That's about.
What's the best TV show you've ever seen, and why is it Deadwood?
It's pretty damn close.
I didn't know you were a Deadwood head as well.
Blue Bloods.
No.
You watched The Wire, like, in real time, too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was an early adopter of The Wire. I would come back to the office and everybody would watch The Sopranos and they wouldn't watch The Wire. And I'm like, you guys are missing it. You should be watching this. This is awesome.
And they're like, yeah, but the guy on this other show goes,
Yeah, exactly.
Gabagool.
Yeah. They're similar shows in some vein, but
I didn't realize they were running at the same time.
yeah, they were back to back. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
TV peaked.
I guess on a deeper level, so Iowa has the second highest cancer rates in the nation.
Yep.
I mean, can you quantify that at all? Like, how bad? I guess how bad does it suck? Like, yeah, I mean, you can kind of personify it, if you will.
What do you mean?
Just like, huh? Yeah, like, I mean, like, should people be scared? Like, I guess is probably a shitty question. I don't know how to
is
ask
scared in the immediacy of getting your diagnosis. Sure, it's cancer. I mean, your people are telling you now. The likelihood is that they caught it early. The likelihood is the treatment course is known and verifiable and that it can be done. Because technically I'm cancer-free right now. Yeah, I don't have any leukemia. I don't have any melanoma.
Really?
Yeah.
So you beat
Wow.
it again.
Huh?
So you beat it again.
Kind of did, yeah, now that you say it.
Oh, you're like that B-52 bomber that comes out of like all the like the fight and stuff, and you're just like flying. You got a bunch of bullet holes in you, and you're like, "Well, we made it out.
Yeah, no
We're
shit.
losing fuel, but we made it out."
Yeah, we might crash in the ocean, but for me, and like I said, you kind of have that 24 hours of what the fuck. I remember the first time I got diagnosed, I was going into tax season and I didn't have time to think about it. And so I didn't. And I did my treatments and everything. And until like 2 weeks into my chemo was when I realized oh yeah, this is real. Because I got pretty sick. This time around, had I not had the liver issue, I would have probably tolerated, everything that was happening. I'd be in the same spot I am right now. But the liver issue's kicking my ass, so what are you going to do? There's probably other things too, who knows, but...
Do you know if that's a common thing of like post-cancer kind of having other issues come up or?
Oh, I think there are. I mean, at the end of the day, you're introducing radioactive elements to your body on a consistent basis, so it can't be great for it. We got somebody coming in. Where's she went?
Oh, wait. You good?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's my life.
Yeah.
At one point, I had 8 specialties checking in on me on a daily basis. Yeah, that was a little much because they really didn't offer much. Hey, I'm so-and-so from GI, just checking in with you.
Sorry about that.
Okay. What do you want to know? Well, nothing in particular. Just want to make sure you're doing okay and you feel okay. And yeah. Next. But no, there's a few doctors that are very easy to talk to. There's a guy named Dr. Gallatin. He's part of the palliative care group. At first, I was like, this guy's a dope. And then after talking to him for a long time and getting to understand what he does I'm like, oh, okay. So he and Kurt started working together pretty hard on what my action plan was going to be. And they got it worked out. So he's a sharp guy, a really, really sharp guy.
So how collaborative is the process? Like I always think of being a patient to
Not
the doctor.
enough.
Yeah, you just kind of take what they give you.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people, maybe yourself included, it's kind of like a two-way street where you're really pushing back against some stuff. And
I ask a lot of questions that lead to interesting decisions. Let's put it that way. For example, the fact that I'm being fed through an IV. I said, "Oh, when do we start weaning me off of that?" At some point, we got to reduce the amount of IV I'm doing versus food, so I can get to the point where I'm leaving. And then they all look at me like I just. Wow, that's a good question. I'm just like, this seems pretty normal to me, but okay. I mean, so I've asked some pretty key. My brother even more so because he will ask the same question 75 times, just differently every time, until he gets the answer he wants. And then he holds you to it. But
Yeah, your brother's been a good advocate for you.
he's been amazing.
Of just, like, because there were times where you couldn't really ask those questions.
No.
Which 79 Steeler would your brother be?
79 Steeler?
Was that the year? I forgot the year. I thought that was the year you said.
He would be Craig Colquitt. He's the punter.
He's living you to fight another day, basically.
Either him or Matt Barr. Matt Barr was the kicker.
Right.
I can't remember who the long snapper on that squad was.
so you're just taking shots at your brother right now?
Not at all. No, not at all.
It's called football, Ian.
Punting is winning.
Kicking's important.
Matt Barr and Craig Colquitt were
It's
both
the Hawkeye
Pro
fan, right?
Bowl level guys. Mm-hmm. What else you got?
I don't know why everybody's looking at me.
You said you had questions for the
not.
next hour and a half.
I think you
No, these two guys
I'm looking
are.
at Matt.
What? What? How much time is on there? What's my phone say? Oh, okay.
We're in good shape.
Yeah, we could do more. What other categories do we usually have? We had the how's Dave looking? We had the medical update. We had questions open to Dave. We're not doing same Dave parlay.
Ray of Pope.
Ray of Pope. Yeah, I didn't know if there was a Ray of
let's
Pope.
go Ray of
You were kinda
Pope.
just talking
Yeah.
about how nice it is outside
No,
or
that's
something.
great. I mean, I was you can't get a drink at a hospital, right? Like there's no bar in a
No.
hospital. Which seems crazy, right? Like
It does.
There
of
is a
all the
Starbucks
places-
here.
like of all the places where a guy could be able to go and just like get a glass of whiskey and sit down at a bar, you'd think that they would sell you a glass of whiskey at a hospital, you know. But I understand why they don't, because of the medicine deal. They seem pretty, you know, dialed
What a good
into
Ray.
health around.
What a
here.
good Ray. Here's something that you
Well-
don't have.
No, but I'm saying that I think my idea is of all the places, like there are speakeasies and back alleys, but hospitals need a speakeasy.
No, that's a good
You
call.
know.
I just want to see one of those old timey broads with like the little like the tray she's walking around and it's like got booze and everything. Then someone's like a doctor's coming, she's like, "Oh, gotta hide it." Flips over, it's like cigarettes she's selling to people in a hospital. They're like, "This is worse."
Yeah. I mean, somebody's got a bottle of booze in this hospital right now. You know they do.
Oh, 100%.
Some Oval Office in this hospital.
Someone's loaded, just giving a diagnosis right now to some
I was gonna
patient.
say, it's a surgeon.
Keeps his hands from shaking.
Get the shakes.
What's of being in a hospital? You've been in a hospital for a few days now. Like, what's the toughest thing about being in one outside of being sick? Like just being away from home, just dealing with people checking on you.
You feel a lack of what's freedom.
Yeah.
In my case, because my legs are jacked, even more so. But you just have no agency. You don't have. You can't really decide for yourself what you're gonna do on stuff.
Sure, everything you do is monitored.
Everything you do is monitored. Everybody's watching. Obviously, they're coming in once an hour just to
Yeah.
check in.
Pestering you all the time. Are you able to sleep long stretches? Like, are you able to sleep on a regular schedule, or is the nighttime? I mean, you watching some nighttime.
We
TV?
kind of got that locked down because I made a deal with them. And that is, I don't like taking pills. I hate it. And I said I would not object to taking my pills and everything that I usually do anyway, but I'll be less of a pain in the ass if you coordinate all these other activities at the same time. So you're waking me up once during the night, not 3 times. So they did that last night and it worked. But of course, last night was the night that I couldn't fall asleep. So I sat here looking at the ceiling and
excited about a full night of sleep.
really just unhinged. Couldn't wait.
I didn't know if you were gonna say you hate taking pills, so you're demanding everything be a suppository.
Oh,
Everything.
I really hate taking pills.
New doctor comes in with just what looks like a beer bong. Goes, "Okay, Dave. Dave, it is Dave, right? Okay, let's see what nurse was here. Okay, so
Sorry about that.
We're gonna take your pills, and from what I hear, you don't like taking them orally."
Yeah.
My name's Dave. Welcome to Jackass.
I guess so. Do you have any thoughts, like politically, as far as like the cancer? Like one of the hot button topics, kind of in Iowa, is like blaming the politicians and everything. Like, do you have any like gripes or thoughts of like politicians failed you or anything like that? Or
Not really. I mean, I'm more pissed at. God, this is a long question.
it's pretty loaded, but I studied journalism in college, so Let's make it a little bit more lighthearted.
That's where that Steelers question came from.
I would say that politicians know I don't really give a shit what they do because they're not very smart and they typically do what's good for them to get reelected, not what's good for the people of their district or what have you. So that's that. As far as like the frustrating thing for me is knowing and growing up in a farm community, and the preponderance of cancer in my hometown area. There's got to be a correlation between that and the chemicals we're using to farm. There's got to be a correlation between that, the chemicals that we use to farm, and some other factor that I'm not thinking of. There's got to be a genetic factor. I think in order for you to get cancer like me, you just got to have a lot of things go wrong at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any one thing, and I'm not blaming farmers at all. I just think we have to rethink how we do our food supply completely because it's problematic right now. And you run the risk, right? So on the left hand, you have 8 billion people you need to feed across the world. On the right hand, you have super crops and fast ways to grow things, and we can make we can produce X amount of hogs in so many days. We can produce so many chickens in so many days. But is that the right way to do it? Even the farmers probably know it's not. But it is the most economical way, and it's the way that they're being told to do it. We're given no incentive to do anything otherwise, so I don't know. I think watershed's important.
Right now with your headspace, I think that this might be what we kind of already talked about a little bit. Just like with your headspace now, like, do you just like, do people try to talk to you about current hot topic subjects and you're just like, I don't care.
Zero
like,
fucks
it's just
given.
nothing's getting through to like catching you because it's,
I still care, but not as much.
yeah.
You know, I still got a kid and I still got a grandkid, and I care about that. I care about my friends that are young. Yeah, but as far as, I don't know, there's a lot of shit that just doesn't interest me anymore.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that because I'm such a bad person of like, it's so easy for like, I'm like the worst person to have social media because like I'm one of those people like I see all the things that stress me out reading it. I'm like, well, this is what's happening every day, and it's like, yeah, that's happening every day, but it's not literally happening when I walk out the door. I'm
Right.
seeing it right there. It's not truly in the world of the universe, Wes's universe.
No, I think
Not seeing it, but
right before the election in 2016, I kind of turned off the news,
mhm.
and I've never turned it back on, and I've been better off for it. Where I catch my snippets of news on Twitter or whatever, or when I'm scanning through TV, and I'm like, I'll stop on CNN or whatever, and just to get a feel for what's going on out there, but it's all dominated by the orange man, so I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, I feel better for not having to know everything.
Yeah.
I'm happier because of it, I can tell you that. I don't get as angry.
Well, it's totally a thing of like, we should not know all the information we know of all the media we
There's
take in.
a lot of truth to that.
You know, it's like, it would used to be just down to a newspaper. You'd read that. Here's all the shit that happened down yesterday, but that'd be kind of it. Instead, now it's
Yeah.
like, look at all this terrible things that happened literally 30 minutes ago. This is already, you're seeing footage of it and stuff. So.
100%. Yeah, it's a totally different day and age. Where you also have the general public as a source of media,
Yeah.
which has never happened before, recently.
Everybody has a platform.
The last 15 years or so. Immediately people turn on their cameras and are taking video of whatever.
That is nuts. Sometimes when you see people like having like mental breakdowns or something,
Yeah.
and how many people just bust their phone out and instantly right away the first thing they think is I got to record this person having the worst day of their life.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
But also, if you were there and you try to tell somebody about one of these mental breakdowns and you didn't have video proof, like these days it would carry no weight. Be like, oh, well, it didn't even happen because there's no video.
Yeah.
So you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, now they even have
So you
fun
have to
words for
record 'em.
You
having-
have to record them, otherwise.
You got to do it, and you got to post it.
Well, you don't have to post it. Yeah.
It's documented so much they even renamed it to crashing out. They're just like, oh, he's crashing out. That's what a mental breakdown is now. Now it's just a fun thing people do.
Sweet. I almost crashed out here a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
Sure. I had,
cancer.
well, I was arguing with everybody about certain things and just didn't make sense to me, and nobody could give me a good reason why I was wrong.
About the Steelers, or
No, I was okay with that. Although I got the Aaron Rodgers news and I was like,
take me,
all
Lord,
right.
That's the one piece of news that I managed to avoid.
take me, Lord.
All right, I guess.
That's an interesting thought. I guess I didn't know how religious you were previously. Did any of this open your mind to anything like that?
Not really. It doesn't change it. My religious point of view has always been I don't know. I don't think I'm. Let's put it this way. There's people way smarter than me that are all Christians and believe in God. There's people a lot dumber than me that believe. I can't tell you who's right and who's wrong. I'd like to believe, but at the end of the day, I don't know if I do.
Can you name 3 of those people that are dumber than you? Just out of curiosity.
Are they in this room?
Just look around.
No. There's a lot of people dumber than me. A lot of people smarter than me, too.
What percentile do you think you're in? Like, oh, the whole world, 8 billion people. What percentile of?
That's not a fair number. Percentile of the world is a drastic. Are we talking modern world, or are you talking everybody?
And also, what standard are we using? If it's like
Intelligence. Like,
yeah, but just that's it. Intelligence is very biased by culture. Like our
Well, I'm not-
intelligence would be useless in South America or whatever.
just like a general statement. Like, I'm not talking like 79 Steelers, because obviously he's probably in the 97th percentile in that case.
I would
Maybe.
say 80%.
I think that's fair for you. You're pretty. I think you might be 85th. You might be selling yourself short.
Yeah,
I'll take the
no,
over.
I'm not as strong as you think. There's a lot of people smarter than me.
But I think one thing that you do have, which is just an incredible measurement to my general like perception of intelligence, is you have good self-awareness.
Right.
So I mean, that's a lot of people don't have that, and that's just
That's big.
yeah, it's big.
I think that the actual consistent metric for deciding how smart you are is how fast and how well you can beat the game Minesweeper on Windows 98. So I think
I'm pretty good at that.
you're pretty good. See, that's
I
what.
feel like Dave did some time on Minesweeper.
Oh, yeah.
Or that game where you're skiing, foot runs out.
Yeah.
Hell
I
yeah!
was very good at Minesweeper.
All right, well, we're in with one of the
99th percentile.
greats. I'm shit at Minesweeper, so
It's a
Oh,
tough
yeah?
one.
I just never tried to learn how to do it. I just would always click around and eventually something would explode. And I'd be like, "This is a game of chance."
You hit a mine.
What are these numbers for?
It's really not.
I know.
Yeah, it's not too tricky, but
Is there a thing you're most proud of that you've done so far in your life?
He thinks really cool. I'd say starting the firm from scratch and building it into what it is today is pretty cool. Even though I don't have any part in it anymore, it's still something I look upon and go, all right.
Is your name still on it, or is it?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I was gonna say he should find someone with the last name of Cole, and so it could be Coleshaw.
I don't know what he's doing. I told him, hey, Doc,
Howdy.
come on in.
Come on in.
I'm sorry, we're...
Just had a very shameful moment where the doctor asked Dave for any questions, and then he looked over at me, and I had the microphone right here, and I was just like,
Tell us the truth.
I
Tell
felt
us
like
the
a
truth.
student, like the teacher walked in and caught us all doing something we shouldn't be doing.
That's Dr. Brooker. He's one of the oncologists here. Probably one of the top oncologists in the state.
Oh, yeah?
He's also, here's a fun fact. So the second time I did chemo, I was doing this immunotherapy, and it reacted bad with my heart at one point during my treatment. And he was the doctor who responded to the 911 to the chemo floor for me. I remember looking up, seeing him, and all of a sudden all he said was, yeah, let's call a code team. And I said, this isn't great. This isn't how this is supposed to go, but we got her taken care of. But here we are.
I was waiting for him to ask what the podcast was about, because what was going on, and I was planning on telling him. So we're interviewing Dave, because I don't know if you know this about Dave. Dave has the world's largest Lisa Frank sticker collection.
That's right.
And we're getting some information out of him. It's
That's
very
right.
exciting.
I got some big collections, that's for sure. Need to figure out what to do with them. But anyway,
Drink them.
right? Yeah.
I do just want to say, and I don't want to get too sentimental, and I know you hate this stuff, but I'm glad that I do get to be a part of this, and I got to be a part of your podcast and getting to kind of go through this with you and everything, because this has been kind of this has been kind of I won't say eye opening for me or anything, but it's given me a perspective that I've never had, because I've never had to see somebody,
Sure.
never had a close friend go through something you're going through before like this and everything. So
Sure, that's kind of why I wanted to do it.
yeah, I'm glad you did, man.
A little bit. There's a part of me that was like, the world doesn't know what it's like to have cancer and go through it and get your ass handed to you. Didn't expect this kind of ass handed to me. But here we are, and that's showing it warts and all, which is fine. My hair hasn't grown back 1 ounce yet.
Your eyebrows are hanging in there.
Yeah, they really
I
want
kind of
it.
thought those would go, or I didn't know if that
So
suited
did
everything
I,
else.
actually, and they're here they are, just hanging tough.
Well, and I feel like you showing this story, like living it kind of out loud via this podcast, which is why I always endorsed you doing it from the beginning, is that to me, that's like one of the most deeply comedian things you could do.
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
How do you respond to your cancer? Let's turn it into a podcast.
That's yeah. That's the other side of it. But
then you pop out of a coma and you get your feet back on the ground for a minute. And you're like, bring the boys in.
yep,
Bring them in.
Let's go.
Bring me the mixer.
What I enjoyed about Wes's question was, even if none of this was going on, he still could have just asked that question. It would have felt normal.
yeah, for sure.
Like, thanks for making me a part of this, guys. Like that's just who Wes is.
It's not even a
He just
question.
just grateful to be there.
Genuine dude.
Yeah.
You missed one of the funniest Wes posts of all time recently. I can't remember exactly what you said, Wes, but I think you were being a little hard on yourself about comedy stuff. Well, Matt, help me out. What did it say?
Oh, what did it say? Oh, you were talking about like It was something about getting booked or something.
I was like, I'm not a good comedian, but complaining about not being booked on shows isn't gonna get you
And
booked
so
on
in
anything.
true West fashion, the entire comment section was like,
This is bullshit.
"Great, blah blah blah." Which I was, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Wes is gonna hate this because this was not what it was about."
Exactly.
Right,
Thank you,
right.
because it wasn't about that. I did have a problem with that.
And if it was somebody else, there would be an amount of skepticism that they were just fishing. But with you, everyone knows it's so genuine that it's.
And then you mentioned in the group chat, you were like, I hate that people did that. And to which I said, I was like, well, Wes, here's the thing. We don't like it when people are mean to Wes, even if it's you. So fuck you, Wes.
Right.
We're gonna defend Wes to Wes.
Right.
Wes on Wes on Wes.
That's hot.
It's the most positive thing you said about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have any more questions?
We'll save them for next time.
All right, that sounds good to me.
I mean, you went pretty long.
Good job, guys.
Yep.
You're looking good, Dave.
Thanks everybody for watching. See you in the next episode, unless of course this is the actual season finale, which I don't think it is. So
Hi to Mike Getler.
yeah, what's up, Gettler?
Hey,
Enjoy-
Gainer.
Have fun not being here.
Oh, we missed the Iowa Dave wave.
No, we didn't do that because he would hate that.
He
No,
hated
I
it all
still
along.
think it's funny, but there you go.
All right, everyone, let's do the Iowa wave.
Double A, Ron.
Yep,
All
we're
right.
standing up this time.
Nice job, guys. All right,
Love you,
Paul.
Dave.
and done.